Okay, here we are, Elite Tools of the Trade St. Lawrence River Edition 2020. And it is one, I'm trying to forget about the finish. Did not finish, I had an awful first day, had a respectable second day. Anyway, you can check and go back to the other video that we did about the whole full recap and everything there, if you want to do that. But we're going to talk about just the tools of the trade. You know, what was I using to catch? Okay, let's just focus on day two. A good bag on day two. Had a kind of a 1-2 approach, and the first one was the spy bait. This is a Spin John 80 from SPRO. It is a beautiful little spin bait or spy bait. I was using brown or smoke purple. That, I don't know, something about that purple back seems to get them done. It's got the Gamakatsu treble hooks on there, and that was what I was using. I've mixed up a couple different colors in practice, and this is definitely the one that seemed to be the best. You know, what they would eat the best. I had that on a 7-pound Sunline Sniper leader. Had that Sniper on there. That 7 is what I like to put on that leader. I have about a 20-foot leader, and then I have that down to the Sunline Siglon PE8 12-pound. And the biggest difference between the Siglon, which is what I use for the spy bait, or if I was going to throw a hair jig, something like that, and then the Sunline X Plasma, the Siglon is actually a lot cheaper. It's a more of a budget-minded braid, but it is extremely supple. It's like sewing thread. It casts really far. It makes great, you know, that's a big deal with spy baits. You can make it a really long cast, and then, you know, you're gonna have real good hookups with the braid versus the X Plasma. The X Plasma is really the workhorse. That's what I use on all my drop shots and things like that. But that's what I had the main line down to that. Sunline braid down to the Tatula 3000, the LT spinning reel, and then the business end is the spin bait. It's a 7/6 spinning rod. That's a big deal for me with spy baits. You're making long casts, and those smallmouth are hitting it a lot of times in the first 3 or 4 cranks of the handle. So you need something that you can lean back into them and get a good hook set from a long distance. So the 7/6 Cashion spin bait rod, that thing is the money maker for me. That was the big deal with my rod. That setup. Basically the only other setup that I caught fish on during the tournament was ye old drop shot. This is the Missile Baits Bomb Shot in GP3. Used green pumpkin, used a couple different colors, but that was the one that I seemed to catch the most fish on. Had a number 1 Gamakatsu G Finesse split shot drop shot hook. I really like that little hook right there. I just had as you can see, I had just the hook kind of threaded into the head of it. I like doing that because when the fish bites it, the hook point will pop through, and you don't have any problems hooking up with the fish. That's what I did there. I also had that on. I had one rod with 7-pound Sunline Sniper, and another rod with 8-pound Sunline Sniper. If I was around structure, I really needed to wrench on the fish a little heavier, I had the 8. If not, I put the 7 on. I feel like you get more bites. And then I had that down to the X Plasma 12-pound X Plasma Sunline. That is just a heck of a line. And I'll spool this thing up, and if Sunline might not want you to tell you that, but I put one on there and use it the whole year. It'll fade just a touch from that bright green, but still the fish, its strength and everything holds up. You can use, you know, 1 spool of that for at least a year, maybe even 2, depending on how much you fish. I fish a lot with spinning reels, especially when I'm up north, but that was the deal on there. And I had a Daiwa Ballistic 3000 spinning reel. It's a very smooth, nice reel, and I had that on the Cashion Rods drop shot rod. It's a 7-foot 4-inch drop shot rod, and it's counterbalanced, meaning that when I hold this rod right here where I put my finger, you can see the whole rod just balances. So it's got weight in the butt of the rod, so that when I'm holding the rod during the day fishing, it's just gonna, you know, it's just gonna be real easy and real light. And whenever one of those fish hits it, it's real easy to feel that because the rod is balanced. You're not having to prop it up. And got the little weight keeper down there. Love that part of it. But that's what we're looking at here. We're looking at tools of the trade. We're looking at tools of the trade, and this is my up north drop shot rod special. I've had a lot of discussions with people about drop shot rod lengths, and it's almost like the longer the better, but I feel like a 7.6 is a little bit too long. 7.4 seems to be the perfect balance for me, and you want to make sure that that rod has whatever rod you're using. We want to have that soft tip, but still enough backbone to where you can drive the hook into them. I had a discussion with Paul Mueller, who's leading this tournament after the first 2 days, and you can see that rod has plenty of backbone, but that tip is actually very soft, and that's kind of the combo that you need. He and I were having a discussion that you need to have a rod with plenty of power in order to get that hook into those smallmouth. Smallmouth's mouth is very hard. You got a lot of current out here. You got a lot of things that are, you know, working against you in the leverage department, and you need to have enough wood in your rod to be able to drive that hook. Even if we're talking 6, 7, 8 pound fluorocarbon on that leader, you know, real light line, you're still going to need to have plenty of power in that rod. And now, just to show you a little bit of a difference, this is the spin bait rod, which again is 7.6, and as you can see, it bends a little bit more throughout the rod. It's a little more, as they call it, parabolic, and as you can see, that thing is a little more parabolic, but that's what I need, because this is treble hooks, and again, that braid will overcome some of the softness. So it's the perfect combo there on the spy bait and the drop shot rod, and that's kind of it, man. Only had two rods that did most of the damage. Like I said, yesterday was day 2 for me. Ended up finishing right near the bottom just because I had such a miserable first day. I didn't have any excuses, and I can tell you, I didn't have any problems with my equipment, from the motor, the boat, my electronics, my line for sure, my rods, my reels, my baits. I didn't have any issues with anything along those lines. So that's why this tools of the trade still counts, even though I didn't have a good finish, because all of my tools did the job that they were supposed to. But this tool is the one that had the problem. But anyway, I'm going to bounce back. We're going straight from here over to Lake Champlain. Sometimes, you know, on the very last cast of this tournament, I caught a 4.5 pounder. It left a good taste in my mouth, so I'm ready to get back out there on Lake Champlain. So be sure to tune in for those recaps coming up very soon.